Gaming these days is plagued by nostalgia. I mean, you know you have a problem when Game of the Year lists start having games on them that came out like 20 years ago. I mean, leave it to the publishers of today to find a way to charge you to relive your own memories. And, you know, why not add in some microtransactions while they're at it? Of course, you could play these old games on the consoles that they originally released on, but no sane person is going to have a Sega Dreamcast in the year 2024. For people who traded in these old systems years and years ago, the only realistic option is to pay for these remakes and ports on modern consoles. But what if there was another way? Welcome to MUVR, a program that takes you back to your childhood bedroom so you can play games just the way you remember them.
Jesus Christ, it's so loud!
But what is MUVR really? It's essentially a customizable room that acts as a front end for emulators. And when I say it's customizable, I really mean it. Floors, wallpapers, posters, all the way to where you want to place your TVs, consoles, and games. Just make sure you remember to plug them in. You can even change the time of day and the season. This is my room. I think it's cozy. I mean, you gotta love the bedding here. Plus, we have a snack table. Probably don't want to drink that milk. It is not looking great. But the room is only half the package. I know what you're really here for. Games.
Unlimited games.
Now, since this is emulation, you're gonna need ROMs. And I can't legally tell you where to get those, so get creative. But once you do, the experience is honestly kind of magical. In my first round of recording footage for this, I meant to play multiple different games just to see how they performed, but instead, I kind of ended up playing LEGO Star Wars for an hour. It's hard to explain it, but everything just kind of melted away. It was like it was 2005 all over again, back when I would switch back and forth between whatever Star Wars game I was obsessed with and the Spider-Man movie video game. It was like a ritual for me as a kid, and here I am being able to perfectly replicate it, just like it was yesterday. I had a very normal childhood, okay? Now, GameCube isn't the only console you can play here. You can actually play all of these. Though not all of the consoles have models yet, so your immersion may vary. Being able to relive popping in a game on a Saturday morning and just playing that game all day, whether I'm finally deciding to attempt to finish Ocarina of Time or playing a game that I've played a million times over again, it just feels right in here. Not to mention the light gun compatibility. I mean, these are games that unless you're still lugging around a CRT, you just can't play anymore. But here I am, failing at Duck Hunt, just like the good old days. But games aren't the only thing it can do. You know when you're playing a game that's light on story, or maybe you're grinding levels, or you're trying to catch a shiny Pokemon, how sometimes you'll just pop on some YouTube while you play? Well, what's stopping you from doing that in here? It has media playback, however you want it, whether it's streaming from websites like YouTube or files that you have locally on your system. You can be watching a movie or a show while you're gaming, or maybe you want to listen to some music while you beat the hell out of whoever the fuck you want in Melee.
Two trucks having sex.
Fucked up. Or maybe embarrass yourself. I don't fucking know. This is somehow even better than the games for me. There's something so charming about being able to watch stuff in this way. It does add to the whole immersion of it all. Now, if only I had someone to share it with. Yeah, of course we've got multiplayer. Now you can finally make good on that promise that you made as a kid to all of your friends, where you said you would host a Super Smash Bros. Tournament with the original game on the Nintendo 64 because you were the only one that had one, but you kept putting it off because you weren't actually any good at Smash, and you just wanted to delay the inevitable because you didn't want to embarrass yourself, Kevin. While it isn't the most compatible experience, there's plenty of consoles that are going to have issues or flat out don't work. Even just using it as a funny way to have a movie night is a fantastic idea. You can line your shelves with movies and have your own little personal blockbuster for you and your friends to browse. Plus, you can have multiple games going for multiple people at the same time, like a really fucked up LAN party. I said don't drink the fucking milk! Of course, you don't need multiplayer to have tons of games going. You can play as many games as you want. It just gets kind of difficult to switch between 5 different games while making sure you don't die. Or, you know, making sure your computer doesn't explode. But is all of this worth it? I mean, it's just a gimmick, right? Is it really worth going out and spending $200, $300, $400 on a VR headset instead of just playing these games on their original hardware? Fuck no. But there is something to be said about MUVR, being able to have this space, to be able to go back to a time when gaming was simpler. No DLC, no microtransactions, no loot boxes, just you and the game. Not knowing what time it was until the only light in your room was coming off of the TV itself. It's no replacement for playing these games on original hardware, and it's certainly no replacement for your memories, but whenever you're feeling that nostalgic pang in your heart, sometimes it's a lot easier to hop into something like MUVR rather than forking over $60 to Nintendo just to play Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. At least it's gonna run better than the original version, right? I don't even like this game anyway.